Being in the crypto market during this volatility is not the best thing to do. I agree. But if you look at the big picture, now this is not a 1 hour chart, this is not a short term chart, this is a 3-day chart, which actually shows you the pattern you can observe here as a falling wedge, which usually breaks to the upside. Fine. Then you notice that the price is printing a lower low at a time when the RSI is printing a higher low. Now, why is that significant? If you remember, you go back in history and look at what XRP was doing here. It was clearly making higher high structure, but RSI suggested you strength is weakening. What happened afterwards? We know that. The same here in the dollar. Now, you go back and you are looking at Bitcoin. This kind of impacts the entire market. So, short term, you can come back down, hit the 15,000 mark. It does not change much. You are still inside this range. You are not moving up or down. The bounce from there should be a signal for you to see that the RSI is bouncing back up and it is printing a bullish structure. Now, not every coin in this market will be following that. We go look at commodities market and we see same structure there. You actually got a lower low and the RSI showed you a higher low. And what happened? The price went up. It broke that neckline. That's actually interesting to watch in commodities market. Right now it's consolidating before it continues up. So when you are here and you see, okay, this can happen when we are going up, 100% the same can also happen when we are going down. So on a macro, say you can argue that, okay, we are observing a double bottom pattern. We went up, then the FTX happened, we came back down. Right now, we are trying to go back up. But on a short term, you're still not breaking to the upside in the RSI. It's not yet bullish on a daily. Then you happen to go on a weekly and you see like, okay, things are changing. If you actually connect these supports, this is what you see for XRP, which is actually bullish. The RSI is trending higher. At a time when you broke this level, you retested this and now you're bouncing. So on a macro to medium term, you're turning bullish. Just short term, you may still get some volatility. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of the world. We go look at the market and we are like, okay, something is happening. We want to make sense of it. Here, even though we dropped heavily, Ether is actually showing you a possibility, just a possibility, of a double bottom. But at the same time, you look at the RSI and you are like, okay, it's making a higher low, which kind of shows you there is some strength inside that. Now, just to make this a little bit bold and we'll choose some better color, the moving average has been broken to the upside. And when this combines with the pattern we observe here, this is not bad. Even though on a short term, you can still come back all the way down to 900, 950, that range. On a macro, you're still holding on. You have this trend line, which we can observe clearly, and you need to break that to the upside. Now, that's for Ether. But the same when you are coming here for XRP, the support is so strong, and what you're waiting for is to see this going up. Now, that is a good thing, because if we can bounce, that's great. So as we bounce, we'll update on that. Now, the dollar. Dollar has been doing the same, and it's inside this trend. You're going to come back lower, which is something interesting. Now, you combine XRP here along with another asset. Say, for example, what we are going to do is to actually take a look at XLM. Say we will take XRP and XLM together because both of them work in the same market, say payments industry, right? So we actually get a little bit more data. Here you go. So if you try to combine both of these and look at them, you can actually see something different. Even though both of them are bullish on a macro, if you observe this recent support, XRP is strong. XRP is still holding on to this level. This is something clear. Great. Whereas XLM broke to the downside, which is not that great on that short term note. But again, yes, you can draw this resistance here and the support here and argue that it's a falling wedge, which is bullish. Yes, obviously, it may just fluctuate here a little bit more before it actually goes up. But here, it's a little bit different. It's slowly turning bullish. The RSI is already turning bullish. So you're getting the attitude in the market from buyers. That really is important. When the market turns green, you will observe the fluctuation. If you remember what we talked about in last video, this kind of gets clear. When Bitcoin starts the run, XRP follows. The market is like that. During all these bad days, people are so down emotionally. The psychology of the market is so down, they really don't want to stay in the market. Some don't even want to hold. But if you have that willpower and you're holding on, right now it's a good time for you to see, okay, your portfolio is down, agreed, but most likely what you're going to see is it going back up. Now, we don't know whether this time we are going to break higher or not. But if we do break higher, then your measured move minimum is a 30% towards the maximum 60%. So say you put an average of 40%. So you can still observe XRP moving higher with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is getting close to 28 to 30,000, that may say like, okay, now that's reaching a resistance. Most likely XRP is also reaching a resistance. We need to see how high XRP goes, but most likely it won't be just 0.55 because that was the recent high we put in. As we go up, we most likely will be observing. Now, one thing we have to keep in mind is, okay, let me make this big. Okay, this resistance trend line is to the downside. So as you take more time, the number at which you break this is lower. Here, it was 0.6, which you had to break to start the next bull season. Here, it's 0.5. Now, if you're going to take some more time, it's 0.45. So eventually, if you have patience, you are going to observe this break higher. As we compared with XLM, this one on short term also is holding the support, which is bullish, and the RSI suggests the same. And if you are that guy who look at RSI and also look for patterns in RSI, one thing which we had to think is like, okay, you got the shoulder here, then you got the head, and now it's printing this one. So once you get the inverse head and shoulder breaking to the upside, that's actually a bullish thing to observe in the market. Great. So keep that in mind. If you're seeing XRP pumping, look at the RSI, you get the confirmation it's going bullish. Now, 100% sure, inside the market there is a lot of news, everything happening for a reason. Some may not look good. Great. So right now, if you are here in the market and you're asking like, okay, the entire market does not look good, but the crypto market, just the altcoin side of it, is not bad because the ROI structure is still the same. You can put it like this in one way and argue that, okay, we are reaching that level. Or you can go to Coin Trader and take in the altcoin market and go on a macro structure there and you observe this because here you have more data. And all of these times when you are reaching that support, it's great. One of the reasons which you can revalidate that is if you remember this, we generally, repeatedly talk about trend lines. And this trend line is huge. Now, this is going to be an opportunity for you guys too. So I'll put this on a monthly and think about this. You come to the support, you bounce. Then it happens to be like this. If you connect them properly, you'll see first time it bounces, it comes back down to retest the bottom before it actually goes up. So you had a buying opportunity in the retest. Here it's the same. Now we call it ABC pattern, but still the basic understanding is you go up, you come back down. So what's happening right now in this asset? It's going up and most likely it's going to come back down somewhere close to 220, 230 and then bounce back up. So what are you expecting as the top? If the market is showing you this has happened, over last 2 decades, most likely you are looking at a higher number, much higher number. You may not be able to, evaluate all those in the fundamental and other analysis, but the market psychology does show you this. There is a clear pattern over last 20 years which gives you this idea. Now, crypto does not have that long of price action, agreed. But currently, when you observe a positive news, it's easy for you to put that in and say, okay, I may be negative on the short term, but I do see it's positive on the long term side. Now, what do you mean by long term? Is it next 10 years? Most likely not. That's not what we are talking about. When you're holding on to this trend line, where you're already making one pattern, that's the trend slowly starting to support your pattern, which is actually a good thing to observe. Say, you can actually put this as a cup and handle pattern, which is actually good. We've talked about that multiple times, so I'm not going to repeat. But remember, the ROI structure here on the base side is 18x. Let that actually sink in. So when you break this range, either you can take that 18 from here being super conservative, or you go based on the textbooks and you say, okay, let me take a little bit lower than that measured move and then plot that measured move from there. Now that 18x is somewhere close to $30. So if you actually average this down or put in the wave structure, everything together, you get somewhere like $18 to $22. That's not bad. But how long you may have to wait, it's the hardest part in the market. But if you have been through all this fluctuation, now it's the time for you to ask yourself that price broke higher here in the RSI, strength terms, that means bulls are here in the market. So when the emotional side has drained you to this level, that's really bad, I agree. But you managed to stay here in the market till this time. And you now observe that the market is starting to turn bullish. So the next step here is literally observe the price go back up. And what does that mean? When the prices go down, it's kind of hard to hold on to it, but it's way harder than that when the price goes back up. When you break even, when you make 1x, 2x, 5x your portfolio, it's a hard thing to look at because it's fluctuating. You may see $50,000 down a day, $100,000 down a day because the market is fluctuating, right? But then you look at the long-term trend just of your portfolio, right? When the market starts to trend high, that's what you have to look at. Say in last 3-4 months, the price did not do anything big. But look at your portfolio. Is it actually going down all the way? Or it's at the same range? It's not doing much, but it did not drop. Because inside this market, you need to understand, inside this market, you had all these crazy stuff happening, right? Luna. So one thing which you have to understand based on the reality is that assets like this always happen. Then you know what happened after this. Boom, it came back down. Then you go look at Solana, another one, which actually went up and came all the way back down. Now, that's fair because it did its run up. It's not like it's dropping as a project. It just did its run up as three-wave structure. Now you go look at FTT. This was also showing you buyers are getting exhausted, sellers are now gaining momentum, all that. But when the price drops like this in a short term and the company is like this, boom, you just run out, right? You just liquidate. That's what's happening in the market. Now, why am I saying this? Because if you manage to stay out of all this like Luna, Celsius, FTT, you are in that 10% of people in crypto, which is just 1% of the actual world, who managed to stay out of all these crises because big YouTubers were delivering by Solana, by Luna. They were literally doing even for FTT, right? Now, this channel is not that big, but we already gave you that thought process. Stay out of these, right? In the members group, we were on precise, get out. The risk to the downside now is like huge considering the upside. That's clearly something you need to think about when you're investing. Same stuff. If you manage to stay out of all those and you're in the other group of assets, most likely you're going to perform better than the average, because the average comes up with all these bad numbers, 99.99% down, right? Now you manage to stay out of all those, even though you are down 80%. But when you go back up, that's when you actually observe your portfolio. If the average market fluctuation is going to be 40x, say the last one in wave 1 was like 28, so I think most likely the entire market is going to do maybe close to 40 or 50x. Even if you manage to get 35, I'm happy for you, right? But some assets may do better, some assets may do lower. It will completely depend on how your portfolio is aligned. That's why we usually discuss about that, right? Fundamentals, great. That may usually perform a little bit lower than the average. It's not that super volatile, but it will still give you decent ROI. Whereas the others, where the risk is super high, the reward is also there if it's not FTT and others, and you're entering at the right time. Great. Now, entering at the right time only means now you have to wait a long time. You need to be patient, and it's not just the normal patience. You need to be aggressively patient. You need that level of patience, which is like you're aggressive, like we say, maniacally patient, right? That's what you need if you have to survive and make money. To survive, it's okay. To make money, you need to wait. That's the hard part. We are all in that waiting game. Once we hit our target, we will look back at all these events and say, okay, I learned a lot of lessons in these market cycles. If you manage to watch this video till here, which the majority don't, because truth is really hard to digest, right? But we share the truth. And when we talked about Solana, Celsius, and all those stuff, it was too early and the price was too high for people to believe it. And it really happened. It took some time, but it happened, right? Same thing. If you are here in the market and you're looking to do all this stuff, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. And if you have another 3 to 5 minutes, you can go look at this particular channel, which is my second channel. 3 to 5 minutes may not be so long, and it may give you further value. So that's it for today, guys. I'll meet you on the next video. Bye-bye.